This is the Scorecard, where you score the latest sports news and in-depth views. Erika Kristensen-Lee, tonight on the Scorecard. Obiena battles rain, rules first ever PATAFA pole vault challenge. Kostyuk cruises past Eala in Italian Open opener. Bulldogs dominate Golden Spikers, set finals clash with Tamaraws. In Major League Baseball, Ray stays hot as Giants edge out Cubs 3-1. In the NBA playoffs, Knicks stun Celtics once again, take 2-0 series, lead 91-90. While Gilgeous-Alexander Thunder dominate Nuggets to tie series at 140-106. And joining us live right here at the BNC studio, we have Philippine paddle queen Alenna Dawn. All the headlines and much more on the Scorecard tonight, the 8th of May. Now, here's a roundup. Filipino pole vault star Obiena proved unstoppable as he claimed victory in the inaugural PATAFA pole vault challenge held at the Vermosa Sports Hub in Cavite. Obiena cleared 5.80 meters to take the top spot, braving the rain to deliver a stellar performance on home soil. He outvaulted Yanhan Wu of Chinese Taipei, who recorded 5.15 meters for silver, and fellow Filipino Joquet de los Santos, who also cleared 5.15 meters to claim the bronze. While Obiena isn't exactly a fan of rainy conditions, he still managed to make the most of the moment. Just days earlier, Obiena finished 5th in the Shanghai leg of the Wanda Diamond League and 7th in Xiamen on April 26. Next up for Obiena is the Asian Championships in Gumi, South Korea on May 27-31. In tennis, Marta Kostyuk came out swinging, breaking Alex Eala in a tense 10-minute opener and never letting up with a quick 3-0 lead. The Ukrainian set the tone very early. Kostyuk kept the pressure on, snagging a third break to go up 5-0, then wrapping up the first set 6-0 with sharp, relentless shots that left Eala struggling to find her footing. The second set followed the same script. Kostyuk made it 8 straight games to go ahead 2-0, then broke again for a 3-0 advantage. Eala managed to hold for 1-4, earning a roar from the Filipino fans in the ninth session. But still, Kostyuk stayed locked in, holding serve and breaking once more to close out the match 6-0, 6-1 in just over an hour. Eala bids farewell to the singles draw, but will set her sights on doubles, teaming up with world number 3 Coco Gauff. The duo will face off against Alexandra Panova of Russia and Fanny Stoller of Hungary in the round of 32. Moving on to collegiate sports, the National University Bulldogs kept their 5-peat hopes very much alive, sweeping the University of Santo Tomas Golden Spikers in straight sets, 25-23, 25-23, and 25-23 once more in their do-or-die UAAP Season 87 men's volleyball Final Four showdown at the Smart Araneta Coliseum in Quezon City. With this win, NU locked in their 10th straight finals appearance and will now face off against the Far Eastern University Tamaraws for the title. Leo Ordiales was on fire with 20 points built on 19 attacks in a block. Jay Bisquitado added 14, while Buds Budden, back from an ankle injury, chipped in 7 points, 9 receptions, and 2 digs in 2 sets. UST briefly took a 23-21 edge in the second set after a 20-all deadlock, but NU rallied with 4 straight points to seal the set. The third set remained tight, with NU holding a slim 19-16 lead after an Ordiales shot. UST responded and tied it at 21-all through all Bukhari Sally. The teams traded points until a Bulldogs error made it 23-all, but Budden nailed a kill followed by a powerful hit from Bisquitado to clinch that win. With the loss, the Golden Spikers settled for the bronze. The title series between NU and FEU kicks off this Sunday at 1 p.m. Same court, new chapter. In Major League Baseball, Robbie Ray kept rolling with 6 strong innings, while Wilmer Flores stayed hot at the plate with 3 hits, helping the San Francisco Giants secure a 3-1 win over the Chicago Cubs. Ray, unbeaten at 5-0, gave up just 1 run on 3 hits in another commanding outing. Camilo Doval and Tyler Rogers handled the next 2 innings, and Ryan Walker shut the door in the 9th for his 7th save. San Francisco took the series 2-1, improving to 24-14 overall. They're coming off a crazy 14-5 win here, where they blew it open with 9 runs in the 11th. Nico Horner led the Cubs' offense with a 2-hit starter. Ben Brown struck out 9 over 5 frames, but was tagged for 3 runs on 6 hits to drop to 3-3. The Giants opened the scoring early. Mike Jastrzemski walked and came around to score on Flores' 2-out single in the first. Then in the 4th, Lamonte Wade Jr. doubled in Matt Chapman, and Christian Koss drove in Flores with a base hit. Wade and Willie Adames also chipped in with 2 hits each, giving the Giants 3 players with multiple hits. Moving on to the NBA playoffs, New York pulled off another thriller, edging Boston 91-90 behind Jalen Brunson's clutch free throws with 12.7 seconds left. The Knicks fought back from 20 down with big games from Josh Hart contributing 23 points, Karl Anthony Towns 21 points, 17 rebounds, and Mikal Bridges, who scored all 14 of his points in the final quarter. Brunson added 17 points and 7 assists, including the winning shots. Boston got 20 each from Jaylen Brown and Derek White, but Jason Tatum struggled, finishing with 13 points. The Celtics have now lost 2 straight after blowing double-digit leads in both games. Meanwhile, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander dropped 34 points in 3 quarters as Oklahoma City crushed Denver 149-106, tying the West semis at 1-1. Thunder set an NBA playoff record with 87 first-half points and tied the record for points in any half. OKC led by as many as 49, with Gilgeous-Alexander shooting 11-13 from the field and 11-11 from the line. The Thunder drained 18 triples, spreading the floor and dismantling Denver's defense from start to finish. Hardenstein added 22 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists in a near-perfect night for OKC. Wiggins also chipped in with 15 points off the bench, adding energy and spark to OKC's historic night. OKC's defense forced 19 turnovers, converting them into 28 fast break points. Nikola Jokic, after a monster Game 1, was held to 17 points before fouling out. And here are the current playoffs rankings. Now here's your daily dose of sports lingo. Can you guess what pucker factor means in the sport of paragliding? Pucker factor is a term used to describe a pilot's feeling of fear or nervousness in paragliding. Now, it often occurs when a pilot faces challenging or unexpected conditions such as turbulence or a wing collapse. Yikes. The term comes from the physical reaction of the mouth and lips puckering up in response to stress. It's a moment of intensity that every pilot experiences, but it is also a part of the thrill and adventure of the sport. Experienced pilots know how to remain calm, handle the situation, and still enjoy the ride. So the next time you're up in the air, don't be surprised if you feel the pucker factor kick in. It's just part of the exhilarating world of paragliding. Now it's time for our off-court buzzer. It started like a regular meeting about football, but quickly took a detour into global politics. Trump floated a bold idea, maybe, just maybe, letting Russia join the 2026 World Cup could help end the war in Ukraine. Russia has been sidelined from international football since 2022 after its invasion of Ukraine. Trump thinks a spot in the tournament could be a game changer.
That's what we hope.
Hey, that could be a good incentive, right? We want to get them to stop. We want them to stop. We want the 5,000 young people a week are being killed. It's not even believable. I didn't know that. Is that right?
Yeah,
You want to
that
explain
is right.
that?
They are banned for the time being,
Okay.
from playing. But we hope that
He's the boss. I'm not the boss on that. I have nothing to do.
we hope that something happens and peace will happen, and then
It's
Russia
possible.
can be readmitted. So
On the other side of the table, though, U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance welcomed football fans from all around the globe with a caveat.
We want them to come, we want them to celebrate, we want them to watch the game, but when the time is up, they'll have to go home.
The U.S. will host 78 out of 104 matches, including the final. The World Tourism Forum Institute has already expressed concern that tough immigration policies and global tensions could hinder international travel for fans. So stay tuned to see how this all unfolds. And that's our roundup for tonight, the 8th of May. Up next, get to know Philippine paddle queen Alenna Dawn when we return. Right here on the Scorecard. Welcome back to the Scorecard. Paddle is one of the fastest rising racket sports in the country and actually all over the world, with paddle courts sprouting all over the metro. And here to talk about the sport is no other than Philippine paddle queen herself, Alenna Dawn. Hello, Alenna. So nice to see you here in the studio. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor to be here.
Well, it is an honor for us, Alenna, because actually you are our first guest that is more paddle centric. So we're very much excited to talk about the sport and dive into it with, of course, you as witness. So Alenna, tell us about paddle. How did you start with your journey in the sport?
It's actually a very funny story because I discovered paddle through my fiance, Frederick, during the pandemic.
Okay.
And I discovered paddle not by trying it out, but by building the first court in the Philippines.
Wow.
Which is a crazy story in itself.
It is.
I decided to leave my engineering career to switch into building a paddle court in the Philippines and then a paddle club eventually. So it's such an amazing journey. And I only learned how to play paddle in the first court that I built, which is funny in itself because I don't have any racket sport background.
Right. So how was that journey for you? Like, leaving because you did mention that you were rather an engineer, electrical engineer, correct?
Yes.
And then you dove into a sport. Those are two completely different disciplines and backgrounds. How was that transformation and transition for you?
For me, it was more about applying my engineering skills into building a new business, which is paddle. And it was also more about introducing a new sport. So I kind of reversed engineer everything. So it was very interesting because nobody knew what paddle was in the Philippines. People couldn't even pronounce it. They were calling it padel or some other pronunciation. So it was no blueprint, no infrastructure, no players, no community. So we had to start from scratch.
Right. Okay. So I wanted to talk about because I know you mentioned earlier that back in 2020, that's when you actually created as we know now, the PPA, the Philippine Paddle Association. So that was literally in the middle of the pandemic. The sport was still growing at the time. Here in the Philippines, at least, nobody knows what paddle was. So what were the challenges for you when you created that association that is huge today?
The challenging part was actually really educating people.
Right.
Because it was only one center, so we have to really spread the sport. Because the goal of Philippine Paddle Association is to grow and develop paddle as a sport in the country. And there was only one center at that time. So we had to really build the community from zero to now. We have more than 16,000 paddle players in the Philippines. So it's an amazing journey, and we really focus on community building. We started from, of course, building social events, and then eventually organizing the first national tournaments.
Right.
And by 2022, the International Paddle Federation has recognized PPA, which is Philippine Paddle Association, as the member of FIP. And by 2024, which is a remarkable year for Philippine Paddle Association and Philippine Paddle in general, is when our Philippine team first stepped into the World Championships.
Wow.
So against 16 countries, our guys placed 10th out of 16.
That's amazing.
And the girls, this is the most amazing story ever actually, is that they placed 4th out of 16 countries in Asia, Pacific, Middle East, and Africa.
That is such great news. I mean, I love hearing stories like this. As a woman speaking myself, obviously, diba? Syempre, abante babae. I'm really all for that, diba? I'm really all for that advocacy. All right, so what inspired, because I know that you also are the founder of the Women's Padel Association here in the Philippines. So what was your vision behind all of that? I'm pretty sure that you wanted to make this sport inclusive, especially to women. And hearing this feat that our national team in paddle for women specifically ended up in 4th place. That's amazing. So I bet you're so proud about that.
Oh, I'm really proud. And even the other countries, because they knew that paddle was fairly new to the Philippines, and the top 3 countries actually had paddle in their countries for 10 to 20 years. So all the federations have approached me and said that the performance of the Philippine women is absolutely stunning and amazing. They're so inspired about the progress that we've made. And that's actually one of the reasons why Women's Padel Association is there, to support the women, to create a space for women to learn more about paddle, not just on court, but also off court. It's about the rising to the challenges, because we were kind of like the underdogs in that competition. So it was really important for Philippines to have that moment where the spotlight is there, and our girls, our ladies have showcased an amazing passion, the grit, the spirit. It was really inspiring. And I was there with them every moment, and it was really, really inspiring.
I know. I mean, hearing the story right now, I'm also very much inspired myself. Alenna, being a key leader in the sport of paddle here in the Philippines, what is the most fulfilling thing about being the key leader?
It's actually about seeing how it changes people's lives, and also creating history for the country. Philippines is the first country to host the first juniors international circuit in Southeast Asia.
Wow.
And right now, on May 21st to 25th, we're going to have FIP Silver Manila, which is the biggest international tournament in Southeast Asia so far.
Oh my gosh.
And we just checked the numbers, and we have 130 players, a mix of local and international players.
That is so exciting, because I'm such a huge fan of racket sports. So, girl, if you need us to cover, we'll be there.
Yes,
just
so
invite
you are
us.
very much welcome to join us there, because this will be amazing, because we have a lot of Philippine players also joining this tournament.
Oh my gosh, that is so exciting, Alenna. That's so crazy. I mean, of course, like if you could invite everybody to watch, like please.
Yes, everybody's welcome to come to Manila Paddle Club, our host venue, for FIP Silver Reap Manila, which is going to be hosted on May 21 to 25. And it's going to be amazing, because also for May 20 to 22, we're going to host a women's paddle retreat with the top 4 female players, international professional coaches.
Oh, that's going to be a treat for all of you paddle players watching right now. Okay, Alenna, now before we wrap up, one last question, just out of curiosity, because I'm so inspired by your story and what you've built, the empire that you've built in terms of paddle here in the Philippines. What is your ultimate vision for this whole thing?
It's about living in the legacy that we have now, because the vision that we once were looking at is actually something that we're living in as a reality now. From introducing the sport in the Philippines to actually opening doors for the aspiring paddle players in the country. And of course, for us, it's the vision of really growing and developing paddle in Philippines and showing that Philippines has a stage in the global paddle scene.
Exactly. And of course, accessibility, which I'm sure is also one of your major goals.
Yes, absolutely. And actually, I'm proud to announce that 2 weekends from now, so in the next weekend, we're going to have the second edition of FIP Promises Manila.
Wow.
For under 12, under 14, under 16, and under 18. And it's so amazing because we work with Play It Forward, and they're bringing underprivileged kids joining an international padel tournament. So we have more than 10 underprivileged kids from local communities joining this, which have been sponsored to train padel. So it's a big opportunity for them.
Alenna, I love this so much. I mean, the grassroots program, this is exactly what I was waiting for from the whole paddle community. And I'm so glad that it's going into fruition already. Of course, thank you to your leadership. All right, Alenna, that's it for today. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us and, of course, your story. And I'll see you on the paddle court.
Yes, and hopefully you can watch a FIP Silver Reef Manila.
Oh, I will. I definitely will. You don't got to tell me twice.
Next time you have to join.
I will. I'll take your word up on that. Thank you again, Alenna.
Thank you.
All right, up next, the rematch, the response, the reckoning, Warriors, Timberwolves, Game 2. Who wins first? We break it all down tonight so you can keep your eyes on the prize. Welcome back to the Scorecard. It's time to keep your eyes on the prize. All right, here is something I never thought I'd be saying out loud in 2025. Jimmy Butler is doing heat culture things on the Golden State Warriors. Yep, I said it. I know. It sounds like a weird 2K trade you'd force just for laughs, but hey, it's actually happening. Game 2 of the second round series is tomorrow in Minnesota, and the Warriors are up 1-0 on the Timberwolves after taking the opener 99-88. And not with Curry, but actually without him. Ooh. So let's rewind for a second. Game 1 was like watching a lo-fi Warriors mixtape from 2014. Gritty, weird, defensive, and strangely fun. Curry pulls up lame in the second quarter, hamstring, and you're thinking, well, this is a wrap, right? Well, actually, that's what I thought. But then Buddy Hield becomes Reggie Miller for one night. Draymond channels his inner Rasheed Wallace for the 2004 Pistons, and Jimmy Butler turns into, well, the Jimmy we are used to seeing in May when he actually wanted to play basketball. Butler goes 20-11-8. Hield drops 24. Draymond hits 4 threes in the first half, and Minnesota, oh boy, Minnesota looks like they spent the week off watching Game of Zones instead of scouting. Now, this wasn't just a cold shooting night. It was actually a cry for help. The Timberwolves missed their first 16 threes. 16! That's like trying to throw a bowling ball into a mailbox. Now, by the time Naz Reid hit their first triple, the Wolves were already down 20. Anthony Edwards, I love the guy, future MVP candidate, obviously, but he had 1 point at halftime. 1 point. You can't call yourself the next Jordan and have a stat line that looks like you're playing through mono. And look, Minnesota had all the momentum here. They just waxed the Lakers in 5. They were rested. They had home court, and yet they couldn't take advantage of a Curry-less team that shot 43.6% and played guys like Moses Moody real minutes. It was a coaching clinic by Kerr, who threw zone looks all night and baited the Wolves into brick after brick. So here we go. Tomorrow, live at Minneapolis. First question, is Curry playing? No, he actually won't because of his hamstring injury. It's going to be another Next Man Up special with Jimmy Butler leading the charge in the most surreal timeline imaginable. Now, second question, can the Wolves actually stop playing like it's 2010? This team can defend, they can run, they can even shoot, but you can't win if your transition offense looks like an over 40 rec league. Chris Finch said it himself. Their decision-making was diabolical. That's the word that he used. That's the word you use when someone backs into your car and drives off. And finally, can Anthony Edwards actually deliver in a pressure game? Now, we know he's got the talent here, but now he's got the responsibility. No more I'm still young stuff. This is the series where stars earn their status. And here's the kicker. Curry is officially out for game 2. No greatest shooter ever, no floor spacing, gravitational force, just Jimmy Butler, Buddy Hield, Draymond, and a rotation that feels like it was assembled at an open run at Rucker Park. And yet, you still can't count the Warriors out because if they somehow go into Minnesota without Steph and steal another one like they did last time, oh boy, this series doesn't just flip, it implodes like a mid-2000s Clippers rebuild. That's the kind of loss that haunts you guys. But if the Wolves come out flat again, if Edwards doesn't go nuclear, and if their shooters keep aiming like they're in a haunted gym, yeah, they're not just down 2-0 here. They are down mentally. And that's when the ghosts of playoffs past starts creeping in. Look, it's game 2, but the Wolves, they're already on the clock. Stay ahead of the game as the battle for the playoffs heats up with high-stakes games. Now, here's your odds breakdown for tomorrow's matchup. And that wraps up tonight's preview, so you can keep your eyes on the prize. Now, before we go, think on this. From the greatest basketball player ever, winning 6 NBA championships with the Chicago Bulls, 5 MVP awards, and 10 scoring titles, Michael Jordan once said, "I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." And with that, thank you so much for joining us once again tonight. We will see you again tomorrow on the Scorecard, where sports is our business and business is our sport, on the Bilyonaryo News Channel. This is Erika Kristensen-Lee. Have a blessed evening, everyone.